Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Now I know with the last lot of videos I've been putting out, it's all cycling related, training related, fitness, you name it, yeah, I've done it. But I thought it might be interesting to let you guys in on what I actually do for a living, because I'm sure there'll be a lot of question marks over how does this guy go on holiday all the time. I'm a project manager for a property management company. And we do the odd property renovation as well, flipping properties, and a lot of maintenance. So when a landlord goes to our management agents and says, I want to refurbish the property, it then gets handed over to me. But it doesn't just get handed over to me like we want a refurbishment, it gets handed over with an expected budget and a job specification of exactly what they want doing. Now, that's where I go to the property, what I'm in right now, and I see for myself what they're asking for can be achieved within the budget that they're stating they're willing to spend. So we'll start in the bathroom, which is through here. Specification was bathtub to remain, bath taps to remain, paint those copper pipes, remove towel rail, soap holder, toothbrush holder, toilet holder, remove this mirror, a cabinet box, get rid of everything that's up there, obviously apart from the light switch, just change the pull cord. So I looked at that and saw many issues with doing that over doing the full bathroom properly, rather than just doing bits. Because when I started to total up the cost of doing it, it did come to over £1,000 to do all these small jobs. Cladding the ceiling alone, you have to work out moving all these things before you even start cladding. Then you've got to take into account that it's got a loft hatch here as well. Again, we were asked on here to use tile over the top of it, which isn't possible, to cover it up somehow. But the best thing to do would be just to clad straight over the full wall, clad the full bathroom with this UPVC plastic sheeting all over. It'll be watertight. You don't need to take the tiles off. It can go straight over the top of the tiles, which is what's great about it. And yeah, so we'll be getting a new bathtub. We'll be getting a new toilet. We'll require some boxing in. There'll be some pipe work that'll need to be rejigged around, neatened up slightly. We'll look underneath the bathtub and see how the drainage works behind there, because we don't know until we start taking it apart. We'll get a new flat mirror, so we'll do away with this mirror here. Then another thing I noted was the bath taps. Now the bath taps, we always put mono taps, one tap, on bathtubs nowadays for our refurbishments and for any maintenance jobs. Because if we can just put the one bath tap in there, if it ever goes faulty, we're just changing the one tap. These two bath taps are very old, so they could go at any time. And if one of them goes, if you're going to pair them up, match them up, you're going to have to change them both. Now, with the fact that the job specification says to just change the bath panel and to renew all this boxing in, if they become damaged, stop working, say a month after the renovation, then we'll have to rip out all this new work just to get to those taps. So it would be better to actually replace the whole bathtub itself. And the reason why I say replace the whole bathtub is because the bathtub itself has also seen better days, but we're going to be fitting a mono tap and it's already been drilled out for two taps. So we'd have to change the whole bathtub. And what we'll do, we'll stud out this wall here and hide all of this horribleness which is here. We'll get rid of that behind the wall. It'll be a lot cheaper, and then we'll be able to fit the tap with the new bathtub, and it's going to have its brand new boxing in around there. Another thing to know as well, when we start taking that apart, there could be a lot of sins hidden behind that, because it's always the case, and underneath this bathtub, it could be terrible. And you never know until you start stripping out a property how bad it really is. So that could add on a little bit as well. So it's always wise to put on a little bit of a contingency. There's this 6mm cable electric box, which is here now. I'm sure this would have been put here because it used to have an electric shower right there. It has no longer electric shower, and the fuse spur which is in there for the shower no longer works, so that can be just taken down, and this can be just taken out as well. So we'll remove that. Basin's in okay condition. All it really needs is a plug, and the taps are easy to access anyway, so it's just underneath there and underneath the other side. So we're just going to leave the basin pedestal as is. We'll probably take it out. No, we're not probably. We will take it out for the fitting of the cladding, and then we'll just fit it back in again. If you don't need to buy something new, then don't. Now, for this project, or this spruce up, this refurbishment, they didn't want to throw a lot of money at it, purely due to the fact that they've invested quite heavily in other properties and refurbishments. This one, I just wanted to do a light spruce up. Then I come to the property like I'm doing now and see if that's achievable. Now I'll give you an example. They don't want us to touch the walls. Now the chipwood wallpaper's been on these walls for probably the best part of 30 years. In all honesty, it's fine if it's just painted. It won't be any issues. You can see where it's been patch repaired here. But when this property has been whitewashed and it's got new curtains up and it's got a new lampshade up, it'll look fine. The issue we have is we're not going to be able to repaint the ceilings because already, as you can see, the ceiling is flaking off all over the place. Over in the corner, we've actually got wallpaper up there. You can see the difference between the wallpaper. So ideally we want to take all the wallpaper off, but with these properties, the issues we have is you can open up a can of worms. You start trying to repair just one small little thing, and the job turns out to be add thousands of pounds onto it to repair it. So sometimes it's best just to leave it alone completely. That said, we're going to be leaving the walls alone. I've decided, just coming here looking at it, it's going to look awful with the ceiling. So it'd be better for us to just board over the ceiling and do a dry line method to avoid having to spend on plastering, on skimming the ceiling. We'll just get the boards attached to we'll drop the ceiling slightly by putting timbers across, screwing the timbers onto the ceiling joists that are existing up there. We won't strip anything down off there, we'll just board over the top. So that pendant will need to be extended slightly. And that's it. We're going to leave everything else. So in the job spec, it was specified not to change the doors or to shave. It actually said please shave down the doors. The issue we have is it looks like the doors have already been shaved down, and there's only so much you can take off top and bottom of the doors. And looking at it, I think it's reached its maximum. When you open up the door, you can see a good 20 mil, that's 2 centimetres, if not more, maybe 2.5 centimetres, 25 millimetres, has been taken off from the bottom already, in comparison to what's over there in the corner. So we've got a massive dip in this floor. To correct it, we'll need to change the whole door casing, and that does add more money onto the job. It does add an expense onto the job in doing that. And the same with this bathroom door. It opens fine, but since it's been recarpeted, it sticks there. But the problem is, I'd be worried about the integrity of the door if it got shaved any further. So you're kind of stuck with this door and stuck with this problem unless you make some serious alterations. But to make those alterations adds on a massive cost to the job. So if the landlord is just wanting a spruce up, which is exactly what they're wanting, they want to keep the cost as minimum as possible, then spending time trying to repair one door and having someone on it for nearly a day is not going to keep the cost down. You've got 3 doors in here, all with issues, and it could end up spending a lot of time on each one just to get the problem resolved. It might mean even taking out the whole door frame Doors come at a specific size, so you can only cut them down so much. So the only alternative thing to do is to actually take out the whole door frame and redo it again. But that means then taking off the chipboard wallpaper, and then you've got to reboard and reskim the whole wall, and then you start this side and you think to yourself, right, I've got to do all the other walls now. So that's the problem you have doing this type of work, where you're trying to work to a budget and keep your costs down, but you realise that if you do one thing, it will lead on to the next thing. And so you need to draw a line and just be really honest with your client and in what's achievable and what's not achievable. And what will happen if you do X, Y, Z, for example. If you do X job, what's the knock-on effect from doing that? Right, let's crack on with this anyway. I think I've covered everything. We are going to be getting a new mattress, a new bed. We're going to be keeping the drawers, getting rid of that, getting rid of the desk. And like I said, the original carpet, this carpet here is going to be going back down. So a huge chunk of the cost will be to fit the new kitchen. Not only fit the new kitchen, for the kitchen itself. So the kitchen will be probably around £1,500 to £2,000. Let's take a walk in and we'll have a look at the shape of the kitchen. So it's got a gas hob and an electric oven. Now the white washing machine and fridge freezer, they're going to remain, so we'll just take those out while we're doing the work and protect them, but there's no need to buy new appliances. We can just fit those back in. So to keep the cost down, we want to keep the tiles, the splashback. We'll do our best to keep those when we take out this kitchen here. We'll do our best to keep those tiles in place. We're going to have a new kitchen fitted, which is pretty much an identical layout, so that shouldn't be an issue as long as none of those tiles pop off. If not, it's always wise to put something in your budget, a contingency, in case anything happens, like the tiles do start falling off when you start the works, because when you start pulling things out, it's easy for things to drop off or to break. So yeah, it's always good in your budget to put a contingency for that. Extractor fan as well. There's no point having the extractor fan if it doesn't work at all. You obviously knew it was creaking before, so used these metal sheets to give it some stability, to stabilize them together. But it would have been better for them to use a solid piece of plywood if they were going to do that, or maybe pull up the floorboards and put some noggins in the floorboards to try and strengthen it, because it is very bouncy, it does creak, but it is in the spec just to re-vinyl this with some brand new vinyl. But the floorboards, like I said, they're a bit all over the place, which is why it gives it a kind of like a wavy effect. So ideally, I've put plywood in my job spec as well. So new bed, new curtains, that'll change it. I think we'll get blinds actually, so we'll get blinds, 2 blinds for the windows, and that'll be better than the curtains. Bathroom's around £2,000. The kitchen will be around £1,500, £2,000 for a new kitchen, and then it's the fitting of the kitchen as well. So just in the kitchen and the bathroom alone, you're in between £4,000, £5,000 for a kitchen and bathroom. And then you got all the labouring in terms of doing the ceiling and the goods that you've got to buy, the oven, the bed, all the painting and decorating. And so when you're doing a budget for this, the landlord might have wanted it to be done for £3,000, but it's practically impossible because in materials alone, the kitchen and bathroom will come to £3,000 just for the materials. That's not including labour. And a rule of thumb is labour is typically sort of like 60%, 40%. So 60% labour, 40% materials, or 55% labour costs, 55% labour costs, and 45% materials. That's what I typically come to on my renovations. And if you add up the cost of all your materials, and then use that ratio, that'll give you a good idea of how much the project's going to cost. Right, that's it in here. Let's get started with the work. Now this is the first time I've walked back into this kitchen since it was ripped out. And looking around at it, I mean, it's quite loose. Actually, it's not too bad. It's quite firm there. So there's some bits which are that's really loose. This here, it's just coming away very easily. See, what comes away really easily like that, where it just crumbles, you've got to really strip back. And it's unfortunate really, because you see how easy that just comes off. It just turns to powder. So when you start working on these properties, it's only until you start stripping out can you really truly see how much work you've actually got to do on it. Because it's not just a case of being able to look at a property and go, oh yeah, minimally just do that, just take out a kitchen. We've taken out a kitchen and all this has fallen off. So now all this needs to be repaired. So you see how weak that is there? It's not taking a lot of force to get that off. So it might be easy just to take this wall back down to brick. Maybe not all of it, but definitely a section of it. Landlord wanted the tiles to remain, but you've seen how that's not been possible now with all this coming off. These, you can see, they're oldish beige looking tile. We're not going to get exactly the same tile being possible. These will have been on here for probably about 40 years, so we're not going to get exactly the same tile. So it'll be a case of probably knocking off all the tiles and putting a new splashback on. So the bath tub is full with everything that's going to be removed. We were going to keep hold of the sink, of the basin pedestal. Sink is usually kitchen and the basin is in the bathroom, but everyone seems to call a sink a sink. But yeah, this is the basin, which we'll keep in the pedestal. The toilet we'll probably get rid of and get a new toilet. So this is all what was hidden. So we'll just probably renew the pipe, get rid of all this all boxing in. This will be all taken out. I'll give it a tug. But yeah. This is where the old toilet went, so we'll have to fix up this flooring as well so it's all level for the new vinyl. They've also cut out around the basin pedestal, that's where the pedestal used to go. So they've tiled around that as well, so therefore anything new is not going to fit exactly right into these spots, so therefore you're going to always have these patches around the tiles, so we may as well redo the whole floor. Carpet's decent, so that's staying. That'll just be covered. Rather than pulling it up, we'll just keep it down, put some roll straw down. No need to do that in here right now, because all the electrician's going to be doing today is doing a rewire in the kitchen, so this will be quite messy in here. But that shouldn't go into this room, and he's also going to be extending the light, because we are going to be dropping the ceiling, maybe 300 millimeters. So 300 millimeters down will lower the ceiling to hide all of these cracks that you can see up here. I mean, we can't do much with that. Even if we give it another lick of paint, it won't look brilliant, but by dropping it, we'll have a nice pan flat ceiling, which will look really nice. With the walls, as I said previously, we're just gonna paint them white and put blinds up as well. Get rid of those horrible burgundy coloured curtains. And the bathroom through here, all been stripped out now. So this is good to go. So it's a wrap. The project is over. This was one which was quite nice to do actually, because it wasn't a full-on renovation. It was just a spruce up, a little tickle. As you can see with this kitchen looks fantastic. We've got the kitchen from Howden's. Really nice, clean and clinical. And we did it quite on the cheap really. I mean, we didn't give the property a full refurbishments in the sense where we stripped all the walls back down to brick. But as I said earlier in this video, that when you start taking tiles away, and especially in these older properties, the old plaster starts to flake off the walls. You don't know how strong that plaster is stuck to the brickwork behind it. So it ends up costing you a little bit more than you thought. So you've always got to take that into account when you do these type of renovations. But I'm really pleased with this finish because yeah, we managed not to strip the whole property and it still looks pretty decent. So let's have a look around this kitchen. So as you can see with the kitchen, we've got a new cooker and a new hob. Let's take a look. So with this kitchen, it had its original cooker. So well, when I say cooker, I mean oven. So this was the original oven that we just put back in, and we purchased a brand new hob just to make it look brand new. Otherwise it would have looked quite dated if we'd put in a hob which had stains on the ceramic glass. So having a new hob makes it look a lot newer. Everything else is new apart from the washing machine and the fridge freezer. If you remember, these two were originally in the property, so we just put those to one side. I'm opening the fridge the wrong way around. Right, the fridge, there we go, with a little box freezer at the top. And the washing machine, a little trick for you. I mean, the guys have closed it, but if you just leave the washing machines ajar slightly, that will extend the lifespan of a washing machine, because it allows the washing machine to breathe and evaporate any water that's locked inside. That's just a little tip for maintenance of a kitchen. Sorry, the maintenance of a washing machine. But here we go, this is the finished kitchen. I've left that door open. Right, soft closing doors. And that's it, the finished kitchen. Here we go. It's got a new vinyl flooring down, and it's very firm because we supported the floor underneath. The windows do need cleaning. It's very sunny outside at the moment. We've got a new fan. It's had a slight new rewire as well. Let's have a look underneath the sink. So all new pipe work underneath the sink, and that goes through into the bathroom. I mean, check out the bathroom. The bathroom, very minimalistic, clean, clinical. We had some white cladding sheets. We like to use the marble effect sheets, but we had a few of these left over from another project, and so we may as well use them. And these have gone up slightly in the last couple of years due to the pandemic and due to Brexit. Materials have shot up over the last 3-4 years. Now, we used to get these sheets, the marbly looking ones, at around £29 per sheet, £30 per sheet. And they're now more around the £47 mark, £50 mark per sheet for this cladding. So it has nearly doubled. But these plain white ones, the cheapest chips, and we did have them in stock. And as this wasn't a high-end renovation, we thought we'll just use these in this bathroom. And yeah, it looked fantastic. So have a look at this. I mean, the bathroom, we replaced the bath paneling, the whole box thing. We actually replaced the whole bath. You know, noted before, I explained how we were moving the wall so we could hide all the pipe work. Instead of painting the pipe work, we just built a wall to cover the whole pipe work itself and the shower, so it looks a lot cleaner. And on top of that, it'll be easy to maintain as well for the future. And it'll be easy to let, because when you get a prospective tenant coming to look at a property,
They want to look at how clean it looks, how new it looks, and how it was before. The specification we were given by the landlord was to spend as little as possible. The specification actually did state just like paint the pipes and change the boxing in around the toilet, behind the toilet, and if you need to change the toilet, change that, replace the boxing in the bath panel, replace that, replace the skirting board or cover the skirting board and fill in all the holes. Now doing all that, it would have ended up costing well over £1,000 in materials and labour. You spend £1,000 more, double that, and you can end up having a new bathroom fitted. So you've got to weigh up the different outcome for spending just that little bit more. I mean, as you can see, we're just having a shower screen there rather than having a shower curtain. It looks so much nicer. But in the original specification that the landlord gave us, you would have still had those pipes exposed. Having those pipes exposed, you wouldn't have been able to put a shower screen up. And it's little things like that that you need to look at that restrict your options of what you can do with a property when you're deciding on what to do. So my job is ultimately to look at what a landlord wants to do with a property and throw back at them my suggestion of a different way of doing things maybe, but it all depends on what they want to spend. If they're only giving me a budget of £8,000 for example, or even less, £5,000, I can only work with what I've got. This kitchen was just over £1,000 just for the kitchen itself, but then I need to pay for having the fitting of the kitchen. Again, with the bathroom, we had to buy the bathtub, toilet, shower screen, cladding. So materials cost around the region of say £800, £1,000, but then you've got the labour as well, and then you've got also the electrics. I can't forget that one because there wasn't enough power coming to this actual apartment. Now, without getting too technical, this building does have a 3-phase coming to it. So it did have the power coming to the building, but it just didn't have the power coming to this apartment. So we had to send a new armoured cable up from the mains in the basement up to this apartment, which did add on the cost, which wasn't initially anticipated by the landlord. So there wasn't a full rewire in this property, but we did remove the 6mm cables and put in a new circuit, and a new armoured cable came into this apartment as well. So that did add on to the cost. Now, overall for this type of renovation, where we're not stripping the walls back down to brick, having to reboard all the walls, we did lower the ceiling just in the living room, stroke bedroom, but everywhere else it just got a lick of paint. We even in the chipboard wallpaper, that all stayed on. So that saved us £3,000–4,000. So my costs as a project manager for this project paying out was around the region of £9,000. Then obviously I'm not doing this for charity, I've got to put my markup on top of that, which is about 30%. So we're looking at around £15,000. I've not finalised the figure that the landlord will have to pay for this type of project. So it is just a spruce up, but as you can see, it's been done to a high standard in working to the specification that was given to us. So yeah, I'm really pleased, and it's a wrap. We've done. We're going to move on to the next projects now. Hope you guys are really finding these videos interesting. What I do a lot of sport, do a lot of triathlon, Ironmans especially, but I also do a lot of renovations. So I hope this inspires people to get involved in the renovation industry, be it on the tools or on the project management side. I hope this gives you a little bit of an insight on how to work out costings and how much things cost. I do see a lot of videos out there which make people believe that things can be done on the cheap. They can be done on the cheap if you're the person doing the work, because it's not cheap, because your work has a value to it. So if you value yourself as someone who should be earning around £200 a day and you're doing the work and you've spent 10 days working in your property, then you haven't done it for free. That's £200 times 10, which is £2,000. So the labour cost for that, if you've done the work yourself in a property and it's taking you 10 days to complete everything, then that's £2,000 in labour, and then you have your materials. So you know now looking at this, what you'd be looking at if you were to do a similar sort of renovation. Right guys, don't forget, hit the subscription button in the description box below. I appreciate all the subscribers following this channel. Hopefully I'm putting out content that you are enjoying. Obviously you won't be subscribing if you're not enjoying. So thank you anyway guys for those of you that have. And until next time, you all take care, stay safe, and keep on moving. Take care. Bye bye.